and welcome to another episode of Smackdown Review here on Wrestling with Regret. My name is Alex, your self-proclaimed Queen of the Ring, and it is a new year. We got a new episode of Smackdown, and we got some pretty big returns as well. A great way to open up the new episode in the new year. And how did it all go down? Let's just jump into it. Sasha Banks and Bayley kick off the show with a promo in the ring before their scheduled match, and Bayley says that nobody has what it takes to make a positive change, meaning the WWE Universe doesn't have what it takes to make a positive change, and her and Sasha made tough decisions that were necessary, and now they're the leaders of the locker room. Then Bayley says Lacey's name, then Lacey comes out. And as soon as Lacey comes out, she says, "You guys just can't get my daughter's name out your mouth." They never mentioned her daughter, and this immediately took me out of the whole segment because I don't even know what her daughter's name, and then I was trying to think back and remember, like, wait, did they talk about her daughter? Because I don't remember them talking about her daughter. So that just took me out of it because I felt like we could have maybe leveled up this feud a little bit if Lacey Evans came out and was defending the WWE Universe and really solidifying her role as a face during this feud. That did not happen. That took me out of it. And then Alexa Bliss came out. And it was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were apparently supposed to be in this tag team match. So already I knew that this segment was just thrown together because we just didn't know what to do with the women for this show. Alexa Bliss comes out and she tells Nikki Cross she doesn't even know why they both are in this match, which great. That was great because I asked myself the same thing. And then Nikki Cross says, "Oh, well, it's because we want to get those tag team championships back." Girl, no. The tag team championships have not been on SmackDown in how long? The Kabuki Warriors are on Raw. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss have never been to Raw to challenge the tag team champions. Also, when was the last time they were champions? They're still worried about being tag team champions? Like, the logic in this whole segment was everywhere. I did not know where to keep up, but I just knew that they all just had a match together. And it was a good match, and luckily, Dana Brooke got the first pin on the first episode of Smackdown in 2020. You love to see it. Next, we have a backstage segment with The Miz running into the New Day, and you can tell that The Miz is very emotionally distraught still from the Fiend messing with his head, playing mind games with him, and the New Day just try to make The Miz feel better, and they say, "Hey, look, you had a good decade, the last decade. You actually main evented WrestleMania, and you won a ton of titles. You're gonna win a ton of titles now with this new decade. Don't even worry about it." And The Miz just tells the New Day, "I'm not worried about titles. I'm worried about the Fiend. How can you guys not be worried about the Fiend as well?" Then The Miz tries to pick a fight with Big E, but then Kofi Kingston jumps in and says, "Listen, if you want to fight, just fight me. No problem." And I really like the way that this was set up. And I was actually very much looking forward to this match throughout the whole night. Next, Elias is in the ring and he plays a little tune, and it's Kimono Elias, which is my favorite version of Elias. And I really like Elias, but how long have they just had this man come out and do a song and barely be in any matches, not even win any titles? What, the only title that he's won was the 24/7 title? The dude should have been Intercontinental Champion a while ago. Like, it's funny, but then it's just like, man, I actually want to see this guy wrestle. I don't want to just see him sing. And he's funny, but it's getting stale for me. So this episode of Smackdown did a pretty good job with the backstage segment, setting up the feuds for the matches happening later on in the night. And this was another good example of it with Shorty G and the Revival. We see earlier in the day that the Revival are talking about putting more respect onto their names, and Shorty G comes up to them and says, "You know what? You should just embrace who you are, and I do it, so you guys should do it too. Everyone calls me short, but I'm actually okay with all the short jokes." And Shorty G challenges Dash Wilder, and although this segment wasn't the be-all end-all of backstage segments. I just like that we got a break from the whole, hey, this is a match, and now we have like, hey, there's a reason why these two individuals are having a match. And this is the reason. This happened earlier in the day. They got some beef. Let's see how it just squares off. And it was an alright match. I was surprised that Dash Wilder tapped out to Shorty G, and Shorty G got the win. And of course, Scott Dawson came into the ring and attacked Shorty G with Dash Wilder. But then we got one of our first returns of the night, and that was Sheamus. Sheamus came out. He finally came out, which was, I was actually tongue-tied. Oh my gosh, Sheamus got me so tongue-tied. But I was actually surprised that Sheamus came out tonight, because I thought they were probably going to save that for the Royal Rumble. But I'm happy that he's back. Now moving on to the match that was set up earlier in the night, which was The Miz versus Kofi Kingston. And like I said before, I came into this match invested, and this match did not disappoint. Although it was a quick match, it was a good match. And I used to hate The Miz before. When he first started out, I absolutely hated him. And the fact that I was invested in a Miz match, I've been invested in Miz for maybe a year now, ever since Daniel Bryan came back, and then he had his feud with The Miz way before, back in like SummerSlam. I'm impressed by the way that The Miz has grown, and I'm very happy that this was a good match. Like I said before, it was a quick but good match. Kofi Kingston got the win, and then The Miz attacked Kofi Kingston. And The Miz just let his emotions run all over him. Running wild all over him was actually what I was going to say. His actions of attacking Kofi and also taking this match were valid because of his emotional distraught over The Fiend, and he's playing it very, very well. Like I said, The Miz has definitely grown on me. This was a big episode for The Miz. I'm proud of him. Before we move on, at one point during this episode, Kathy Kelly goes to The Miz's dressing room, because we see that it says The Miz right outside the door, and she knocks on the door, and who opens the door? Morrison, Johnny Morrison, Johnny Impact, Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Wrestling? He's not Johnny Wrestling. Johnny, anywhere he goes, is his last name. Johnny Smackdown. He's back. Confirmed for the Royal Rumble, but also if he's working with The Miz, and especially after The Miz is having this emotional breakdown, I am so for it. I'm excited. And also, Morrison on SmackDown, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I love it. Can't wait to see more of it. Moving on is the match between Otis and Drew Gulak, and earlier in the night we saw that Mandy Rose went up to Otis and asked if his mom made anything, and he's very sad and he says no, and then he tells her about Ziggler stomping on his fruitcake that he gave her, and she was like, oh, you saw that? And he was like, no, my mama saw that. And the way that he's playing this off totally reminds me of Adam Sandler from The Waterboy. Does anyone get like Waterboy vibes from Otis, or is that just me? We get to the match between him and Drew Gulak, and of course Drew Gulak has a PowerPoint presentation all for Otis and how he is not going to end up with Mandy Rose. And of course Mandy Rose is watching this backstage with Sonya Deville, and at one point Ziggler comes up to Mandy Rose, and Mandy tells Ziggler that he needs to apologize to Otis. But he doesn't apologize to him, but then the match was really short, and then Otis got the win. What is the point of this feud? I mean, I like that Otis is kind of getting a bit of a spotlight, because I just like that he's playing that like Waterboy kind of vibe. But other than that, why are we getting this feud? Following that, we have a match between Braun Strowman and Cesaro. I thought we were going to get Shinsuke Nakamura versus Braun Strowman this week, but I guess we're saving that for the Royal Rumble, which is good if we're saving that for the Royal Rumble, but can we build something? Can we make something a little more exciting? I mean, I love to see Cesaro in a match. it was, you know, it was a match. I hate Braun Strowman's little runaround, little doohickey thing. I love Sami Zayn though. I love Sami Zayn just playing this coward manager valet. Like, I love this Sami Zayn. This is probably one of my favorite Sami Zayns that I have seen in a while on the main roster. I just, I love this Sami Zayn. But yeah, this whole thing, I don't know, it could be a little bit better. I'm happy that Shinsuke is getting something more for his Intercontinental Championship, but I have a bad feeling that he's going to lose the Intercontinental Championship at the Royal Rumble, of course, against Braun Strowman, because we know that Vince loves his big boys. So I didn't care for this segment at all. And last but not least, we have the main event, which is Roman Reigns teaming up with Daniel Bryan to go against Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. The entrances took so long for this match. Was it just me, or did these entrances take like 10 minutes for this match? Also, I feel like I watched this match last week and also 2 weeks ago and also 2 months ago. I'm very sick of, on Raw and SmackDown, them like just throwing these matches all together again, the matches that we've seen already and matches that we're going to see for pay-per-views. Like, what's the point of paying money for a pay-per-view or even the network, however you watch it, to watch a match that you saw on Raw last week and that you're going to see next week again on Raw because they're probably going to have a rematch? Like, this, I don't get why they do that. This match was okay, but like I said before, I feel like I've seen this match already. But during the match, at one point, Daniel Bryan does the yes chant, and then we hear the Fiend's laugh, and I was back in it. I got very excited. And then we cut to commercial break. And then we continue the match. And, you know, the match was okay. It was all right. But at that point, I wasn't invested in the match. Was I supposed to be invested in the match in the beginning? I don't know. But I definitely was not. And then the lights go down and the Fiend comes out and he's at ringside, and Daniel Bryan wastes no time and attacks the Fiend. Then the Fiend throws Daniel Bryan onto the barricade, breaks that barricade, you know, that one section at ringside where that barricade is always breaking. Like, can someone fix that? But Daniel Bryan gets thrown onto the barricade and the Fiend gives Daniel Bryan the mandible claw, and Daniel Bryan is out. Lights come back up and the Fiend is nowhere to be found, and Roman Reigns is a good partner. He goes to check on Daniel Bryan, but then Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin attack Roman Reigns, throws him to the ring, and they take out handcuffs and dog food. And immediately I held my face like Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, and I screamed at my TV and I said, "Dear God, no, please, I don't want to see this again." Then we get another return, our last return of the night. The Usos. The Usos come out to save their cousin Roman Reigns. It was great. I loved it. The Usos, I miss them. They're great. They're always a great addition to any tag team division they're in, whether it's Raw or SmackDown or something else maybe in the future. The Fiend's appearance and the Usos return definitely saved the last few minutes of SmackDown, but overall, SmackDown was pretty good. I definitely would have to give it a C+ tonight. Some pros and cons. Definitely pros was all the returns, even Sheamus. Sheamus was like a little, you know, a little small compared to the rest of them. You know, the Usos coming out to save Roman Reigns, and then John Morrison just coming out of nowhere and just being John Morrison, and recently signed fresh from the Indies John Morrison. Pretty big. Pretty big returns tonight, so definitely that was a pro. The Miz's run throughout this whole episode is definitely a pro. I am invested in The Miz, where they're possibly going to take him, what feuds he's going to be in. Is he going to come out and interrupt that Royal Rumble match between Daniel Bryan and The Fiend because he has this just big vendetta for The Fiend? I'm so invested in that. A con for me for this episode would be overall with the WWE. It was just much more noticeable with this episode, more than others, I think, but it was just segments just being thrown together clearly because you just didn't know what to do, and also with feuds like Braun Strowman and Shinsuke Nakamura, not knowing what to do with that feud, not really having a plan for it. It just really takes you out of it sometimes, you know? But those are my thoughts for this week's SmackDown. I would love to know what you guys think. Let us know in the comments below. What were your thoughts on SmackDown? What were you most excited for? What are your pros and cons? And what would you rate this episode? Because I'd like to know that. I think there were a few people that actually enjoyed this episode, so I'm excited to know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a like in this video and subscribe to the channel for all of our reviews and all of our many videos that we have on this channel. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'm at _Queen of the Ring at Instagram, and I'm at @Queen of the Ring on Twitter, and I'm also Queen of the Ring Wrestling on YouTube, and all of the links will be all down below if you want to check that out. As always, guys, my name is Alex, your self-proclaimed Queen of the Ring. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week for another SmackDown review. Bye, guys!